And bam, welcome back to Nando Talk, guys. The Miami Dolphins have wrapped up their first week of preseason games. We've beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 26-24. We had a great week of joint practices against the Bucs up in Tampa. And honestly, I am continued to be impressed to what I see of this Miami Dolphins team. Thank you, Mike McDaniel, for getting these gentlemen into shape, getting our fins up and grinding, because this is a good team. I know we didn't see all of our starters playing in that Saturday game, and I understand that. It's fine, because what I saw in practice continued to reinforce this idea that the Dolphins are sharp and ready to go. Tua looked good, throwing well. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were getting open on command, it seemed like, absolutely toasting Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean. It wasn't even pretty. It was totally fun for our Dolphins, and I am continued to be excited to actually see that in a game. But for the meantime, let them do it in practice. Let them open up the playbook there. Let them show what they've got against the starters, because granted, if the other teams are resting their starters as well, it doesn't do much good for Tyreek Hill to get reps against backup players. Let them practice hard. Let them play hard in practice. Open up against those 11-on-11s, the 7-on-7s, the 1-on-1s, whatever it may be. Those were the good reps will come. Will they probably get some more reps in week 2? Of course. But until then, keep our players healthy, keep them safe. And on that note, a little moment right there to recognize Trill Williams, man, who was a great up-and-coming year 2 player who's unfortunately torn his ACL in this game against the Buccaneers. The game was winding down, end of the fourth quarter, and Trill Williams, cornerback out of Syracuse, I really like this kid, undrafted free agent, who's having a phenomenal year 2 in camp. And he wraps up bad in the tackle, and he destroys his ACL, unfortunately. And I'm so sorry to hear that, man. It's terrible news. Thoughts out for Trill Williams and Fins Nation. We're rooting for him. You know, we're hoping for the comeback for year 3, and I'm hoping for big things in him. But for now, the best thing is just get healthy and recover and bounce back. We've got your back, boss man. I don't want to see any more injuries for Fins. I want to see hopefully healthy. I mean, I want to see the entire NFL healthy. But for the Dolphins, keep them safe, keep them good, manage their reps, and keep guys good, man. If none of the starters play for the rest of the preseason, I understand. I'm okay with that. I just want our guys sharp, and if they practice hard, that's fine. What I did see out of preseason games, though, moving on to some more positive stuff, hey, the O-line seems to be working. Dieter is back in action. Michael Dieter in that preseason game seemed to be okay at center, at least a little better snapping-wise than Connor Williams was. It's going to be interesting to see how for the rest of the preseason, if Michael Dieter can solidify a starting center role, which would allow us to have a line of Teron Armstead, Connor Williams back at left guard, Michael Dieter at center, Robert Hunt at right guard, and Austin Jackson at right tackle, who, another clap up for Austin Jackson, because, hey, he's turning around year 3. This is a guy who seems to be finally performing. He was holding up the line. I think the best tidbit from the Saturday is that we didn't hear anything from the right side, which is great. You don't want to hear anything from the offensive line. You don't want to hear that they're getting holding or penalized, or they're letting up big plays, or that they're getting blown up. No. Austin Jackson, all quiet on the right side of front, and I love that. He was holding up fine in practice as well against Shaq Barrett, against Joe Tyron, who's a pass rushing specialist. Like, these are the guys, this quality is what I was expecting, because he was getting mauled sometimes by our Dolphins defensive players like Melvin Ingram and Jalen Phillips. But the defense was, those are amazing players. Let's see how he does it against the rest of the NFL who doesn't know him as well. And Austin Jackson performed admirably in the preseason game and in the practice against the Buccaneers. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm saying. We can glean a lot of information from the preseason practices and a little bit as well from the preseason itself. It's a fun time, guys. What I really like to see, though, was the depth that we had for the Dolphins. Our D-line was making plays. We had even linebackers making plays. Sam Evanall, welcome back to the team. He had a nice touchdown back. We love to see that, bro. Even rookies like Channing Tindall was actually starting to do well, man. Channing Tindall had 25 snaps, an 86.9 overall grade, second on the defense, 2 stops, and he was only targeted twice in coverage and only allowed 5 yards. The rangy linebacker, the athletic monster. We always say 6'2", 230 pounds. Our defense is deep, and it seems that our young players are ready to produce. I loved what I saw from our young D-line making moves, but Channing Tindall, 25 snaps is only 25 snaps, and it's in the preseason. But hey, I liked what I saw. He seemed to be making his presence. I can note where he was on the field, and I liked that. keep developing Tyndall. Another good linebacker who developed, though, Cameron Good seems to be a 7th-round pick from this past draft class. Cameron Good at Cal. I liked him as well. He's 24. He had 9.5 sacks last year at Cal, second most in the Pac-12. He has 13.5 career passes defended, and he has 2 pick sixes. That's right. He took 2 picks to the house. Man's got the speed and the athleticism to get after the passer and to be decent in pass coverage as well. I want that versatility. This is a guy you're going to be hearing a lot as well. And I think I was hearing a lot as well of, hey, if Cameron Good is performing well, it says great things about Channing Tindall as well. It looks like we've got 2 good linebackers in this draft class. I love that. Good to go. The defense seems good, but on the offensive side, there was talks of trading guys like Preston Williams and Lynn Bowden Jr. Lynn Bowden Jr. had himself a game. He seemed to have nice chemistry with Skylar Thompson. He had a touchdown, a couple nice big gains of 20 yards, 30 yards. Preston Williams, not so much. He was a little bit shakier. He was trying to return kicks, trying to show off the athleticism. Night didn't pan out exactly as he'd wanted. But for Lynn, hell yeah, and maybe want him as a wide receiver 5. Maybe I could see him even get traded now. But Skylar Thompson had a decent night as well. Welcome to the NFL for a kid who's hopefully maybe pushing for quarterback 2 down the line. I do think, granted, there's a lot of talk about him maybe being QB1 and whatnot. Okay, guys, simmer. Yes, it was an amazing preseason debut, but it's the preseason. It's a 7th-round guy. He's 25 years old for a reason. I'm hoping he develops, and I'm hoping for a great, successful NFL career for this guy. But the fact of the matter is, we've got a quarterback 1 in Tua Tagovailoa. I'm rooting for Skylar Thompson to develop into a good backup, into quarterback 2. It's going to be a long-term project. But for right now, let's be realistic and take it for what it is. Enjoying the depth of this team, because that's what the preseason games are about. Seeing what we have, seeing what this entire roster is going to be made of, because we know what Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are going to bring to the table. We know what guys like Xavier Howard and Javon Hall are going to bring to the table. But we've got to see if Jalen Phillips, for example, makes the leap, and I love to see what he was doing last night. We've got to see if our young rookies, like I was mentioning, in Cameron Good and Channing Tindall, are performing well. We've got to see if maybe Skylar Thompson has the goods to be a QB2, or if he's someone we should try to risk for the practice squad. We've got to start figuring out how our O-line is shaping out. All these questions is what we're going to determine in the preseason games. I think the preseason practices is where the Dolphins are going to focus on actually working the starters and working out concepts and testing them against other teams. We're going to go up against the Raiders and then the Eagles. We're going to workshop a lot of stuff there. I do think that the Dolphins will play a couple more starters just to please the crowd. I think maybe a drive or 2, and not a whole quarter, not a whole series, not a whole half or anything. But I do think there'll be a couple plays out there for us to see them at Hard Rock this upcoming week. Keep your expectations tempered. Think about the practices. This is the practices that truly matter. Seeing them go up against other NFL teams. If there's little mishaps, again, we're working out the kinks. We're getting everything straightened out to hit the ground running in week 1. Guys, New England Patriots, we played them week 1. Reports out of their camp is terrible, and Patriots fans are calm and steady that their organization is going to right the ship, even though Mac Jones is Whack Jones. We should be trusting Mike McDaniel to perform admirably as well with the starters from what we've just seen from our backups in this preseason games. The Dolphins are looking good. Buck up, chin up. We're answering a lot of questions. We're figuring a lot of pieces of the puzzle, and we're going to get the ship right. We're going to get flowing and going, and I'm pumped for this season. Let me know what else you want me to focus on. I'm going to try to cover up this upcoming camp a little bit better and break it down. But I'm pumped from what I've seen from the offense. I'm pumped from what I've seen from the defense and from just this depth in this team overall. Tune in for Nando Talk for more. Thanks for our new subscribers. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I'll put some links over here to check out some of our more popular videos as well. And hey, keep enjoying. This has been some Nando Talk.